Guess who's back? This time for a Psoas tutorial. Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to this. Just so you know, my approach to fitness is strong fit. So without further ado, let's get the Psoas party started. Now, in my opinion, the psoas muscle is the most underrated muscle in the internal torque chain. In fact, the psoas is the base of the internal torque chain pyramid. So the second layer would be the external obliques, transversus abdominis, and lower abdominals. In fact, if your psoas is weak on one side, then the external oblique will also be weak on that same side. And if I had to bet the farm on it, I would say that your quadratus lumborum on the same side tends to go into spasm. That's right. They're all related. In fact, the quadratus lumborum is the antagonist to the psoas. So the psoas, the iliopsoas, connects the upper body to the lower body. It's a trunk flexor and a hip flexor. I confess I never really put much time or effort into strengthening my psoas muscles until I signed up for pole dancing. That's when I realized, ooh, my psoas muscles are weak and it's really holding me back. And in fact, strengthening them has really improved my quality of movement and I feel much better as a result. So I'm going to show you exactly how I went about taking my psoas muscles from 0 to hero. Grab a pec stick, got one, bend it. Then I go through a mental checklist. Squeeze the glute max. Torque in inner hamstrings. Elbows close to the sides of my body. Pecs are on, teres are on. Explode my external obliques out the sides of my body. Keep my knees totally straight, and I'm going to actively flex at the hip with one leg. I'm going to inhale through my nose to increase awareness to the psoas. I'm going to hold it at the top, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Focused on the tension, using that pec stick for feedback. Then I will release by exhaling through pursed lips. So what we don't want to see is compensating by leaning back and hunching like this. So make sure you keep your torso relatively upright as you do this. I'm not a fan of the leg over kettlebell exercise, and I'm going to show you why. There's a lot of momentum going on here, compensating by leaning back. I don't really see how that's going to be of any benefit. I think you're further ahead focusing on isometric holds. What if you don't have a pec stick? Well, dude, get one. They're not expensive. Just click the card to do it. But if you don't have a pec stick, you can do an L-sit position like this. So I'm squeezing into the sides of my body to activate my pecs, and I'll raise up one leg at a time. Now, if you follow me on social media, you've probably noticed that I can fling my leg all the way overhead. That is, by definition, mobility. It's my ability to generate tension in the psoas muscle and my internal torque chain musculature through the full range of motion. So how did I go about increasing my mobility? Let me show you. So the first thing I do is my internal torque chain checklist, glutes, pecs, crank it in. And then I would raise my leg actively as much as I possibly can and hold it there for as long as I can until I want to crap my pants and die. And then what I would do is I would assist myself to get a little bit more range of motion. Then I would do my internal torque chain checklist and let go and hold it. And over time, I've been able to gradually increase the amount of degrees I can actively flex my leg. Another trick I use is the booty band. Get a booty band. Got one. Put it around your ankles. Did it. We're going to get into the L-sit position again, internal torque chain checklist. And then we are going to actively flex our hip and hold it. Whoa. So obviously you would do that for both legs. Before we proceed, I need to school you. When we do psoas exercises, it's imperative that we keep the knee completely straight. Why? Because when the knee is straight, it knocks out the rectus femoris, which is part of the quadriceps muscle. It's a two-joint muscle, the rec fem. So is the psoas. When you straighten the knee, what happens is it places the rectus femoris in a maximally shortened position, which makes it difficult for it to generate force. So the rectus femoris suffers from something called active insufficiency. So in other words, your psoas has no choice but to get to work, which is what we want. That's the whole point of doing psoas exercises. Hold up, I need to school you again. You may have noticed that I do have a lot of hip flexion, and that's because I have mobile hamstrings. So if you have very tight hamstrings, you will have limited hip active flexion because of something referred to as passive insufficiency. So your hamstrings are limiting your hip active flexion. Oh, but Sarah, how do you fix tight hamstrings? Oh, thanks for asking, internet. You need to get to work on the inner hamstring opener and do, well, geez, leg press and all of the exercises that you see me doing on my YouTube. Subscribe. And I suggest you would also join my Strength Academy. Now, I don't just work this in a piked position, I also do it in a straddle position. Spread your legs, spread them. Now, as a beginner, I suggest you place your hands behind you because it's easier than having them in front. And then we are going to actively flex one hip. And guess what? Hold it isometrically. The key here is not to cheat by collapsing like an accordion at the torso. So you want to think of yourself as being completely symmetrical. In fact, I suggest you do it in front of a mirror or video yourself for biofeedback. To make this more advanced, place your hands in front and hold. If you really want to up the ante, then do both legs at the same once. Oh, and pike it. And straddle it. And pike it. Good times. Ooh, I'm sweating. Fucking psoas. Moving along, plows. The secret to learning press handstands, strict toes to bars, and inversions for pole fitness is learning how to fold your pelvis. So that means doing plows. Coco, you're ruining my video. Are you gonna do that the whole time? Grab a pec stick, got one. Starting position is with my legs perpendicular to the floor. Internal torque chain checklist is on, so I'm bending the stick like a rainbow to activate my pecs. So it's like that. My external obliques are exploding out the side of the body, and I'm going to fold at the pelvis. I'm also going to exhale through pursed lips as I go over, and I'm going to make this a strict movement, so I'm not going to use momentum to swing myself over. Take a look. Notice my legs are straight, so I'm not cheating with my rectus femoris. Also notice that I'm keeping my knees as close to my face as possible. So I'm using my psoas muscles to do that. And then I'm going to slowly lower. And I like to play with my feet together in a pike and spreading them open like a straddle. I do it all. I breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. Do you see how I'm folding at the pelvis though? Hey, don't do that. I'll show you how I learned how to do a press handstand. So my legs are straddled like they are in the starting position, and I practiced just folding the first few degrees and holding. Psoas. Once your plow is strict as F, then you're ready to take it to the horizontal bar or the rings. The first thing I do is my internal torque chain checklist. Squeeze the bum, hollow body, pecs are on. And I'm going to exhale through pursed lips, keeping my legs straight as I basically plow. Then I hold it. And I slowly lower. And I play with it with straddle versus the piked. Good times. Which reminds me, we can do the L-sit too. Before we do the L-sit, here are some other variations for the horizontal bar. These are windshield wipers. Look closely, you'll notice my left psoas is not as strong as the right. Can you see how it's a bit further away from the bar? And as always, I focus on slow, eccentric lowering. That's one of the best ways to get stronger. The L-sit. As long as you can generate a boatload of tension in your entire internal torque chain, this is going to be easy money for you. I recommend that you press your legs into each other really hard to help you torque in. And you're going to want to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth the entire time. And remember the Psoas rule, we keep our legs as straight as possible. So internal torque chain checklist, and go. Can you hear my breathing? You can also do the L-sit with parallel bars or even a matador. Oh, but Sarah, I don't have a horizontal bar at home. No problemo, you can use rings. You can either grip onto both rings like this, or you can pick just one ring, but that means you need to do it first with your grip like this, and then do it again with your grip switch the other way so that you don't develop imbalances. So start with a pull-up, keeping your knees bent, and then you straighten them, and you invert over like this, keeping the legs completely straight. Then what we're going to do is we're going to slowly come out of it. You can see this is all active hip flexion. And we can up the ante by piking and opening. I also like to train my psoas on the GHD. So I go to the end range position while maintaining internal torque. And I kill 2 flies with 1 shoe by doing pec stick presses. Notice the other leg is up in the air. And there you have it, a bunch of psoas exercises to add to your arsenal. That'll keep you busy for the next little while. The key points here are internal torque. Make sure you go through the checklist in your mind before you do an exercise. Ask yourself what your breathing is. We are going to be inhaling through our nose and out through pursed lips. Do not hold your breath during psoas exercises. And you probably noticed that I spend a lot of time doing isometric holds and slow eccentric movements. You noticed how I slowly lower my legs. Don't forget to work piked and in various straddled positions. All right, it's your turn to do psoas exercises, but do them well and make sure you post them on Instagram and tag me at Dr. Sarah Solomon. And for more information about my Strength Academy and my live Strong Fit workshops, you can click the link below. All right, bye.